Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful indoor dog kennel. And you can make it any size you want. You can scale it down, scale it up, but let's build something.
We start by milling up some 4/4 oak stock. We're also going to use 3/4 inch plywood that is oak plywood. We drill the pocket holes and use these right angle clamps to hold it in place while we drill it into the back, anchoring it down. You might notice the shirt counter. We built this over 3 afternoons, and during those 3 afternoons, my 3 children were involved in anything they could be involved in school. It was the end of the school year, and so we left for plays, we left for banquets, and we left for concerts and graduation and everything else. And I kept leaving, changing shirts, coming back, working, leaving, changing shirts, coming back and working. So let's have a little fun and see how many shirts that I wear during this. This is the face frame. It's made out of hardwood oak. The oak was milled up to a little over 3/4 of an inch thick. The face frame is going to be anchored on one end and then left loose. It's left loose because we're going to put in the rebar. The rebar will make the bars for the dog kennel. When we put the rebar in, we'll anchor the rest of the face frame together. The rebar that goes in will allow the dogs to see through, to breathe through, to move around, feel like they're a little bit out, but it keeps them from getting out. To get the rebar in, we're going to have to drill. I put a piece of tape on my drill bit to ensure that I don't go too deep. This allows the rebar to go in and to be movable. Now, I didn't show this part, but I'm going to use some silicone to make sure that the rebar stays in place and it doesn't slide up and down. Then I will anchor the face frame together. Now I'm cutting down a 1/2 inch piece of plywood, oak plywood, and I'm using my router, my palm router, to rabbet out around the side panels. Now, once it's rabbeted out, you're going to have to take a chisel and notch this out. The router will only take out what it can reach. It can't reach inside the corner. That's where the chisel comes in. Then I'm going to glue and attach using brad nails. The glue and the brad nail will hold it in place. I had 2 options. I could build the kennel, the dog kennel, like a cabinet, or I could build it like an old crate. I wanted the look to be like an old crate, so I rabbeted it out, and you can see it looks like an old crate from the outside. Now it's time to attach the side pieces. Notice we're up to 5 t-shirts. The side pieces are going to screw in using pocket holes. These won't be seen once the crate is put together. Again, another shirt. This is getting ridiculous. I go ahead and I anchor the front face frame in that's got our rebar pieces. The owner wanted the side panels to be solid to where they wouldn't be able to see out the side. It was against the wall. I'm going to use a domino, and I'm going to set the pins on the domino. Notice how it slides in, it hits the pin, and that lets me know where to set the domino. Now, I'm building the doors. They'll have rebar in them, and I'm going to glue and put the domino pieces in and put the doors together with the rebar. If you don't have a domino jig, then you can use dowels. I've used dowels. I've used the bead lock system. I've even cut my own tenons. Now we're building the top. The top, notice I didn't line up the ends. They're not exactly right. The top is actually longer than what it'll be. It will end up 66 inches long. But right now I'm making it up to 70 inches long so I can cut the ends off. That means while I'm gluing it up, I don't have to be perfect matching them. Again, I'm using the domino jig to set my dominoes. I mark my lines across them, and then I run my dominoes in, add my dominoes, and when I put the pieces on, your slat pieces, I'm going to hammer them a ridiculous amount of time to just drive them in. It's not easy. The longer the piece, the tabletop piece is, the more difficult it is to hammer them in. But make sure to glue everything, and then set it up and work one end to the next. It's not easy. Take your time, hammer it down. I'm using Type Bond glue in this, and it allows the work time to where I can have time. After it's together, I put my bar clamps on it and tighten them down. I've got a bar clamp video. If you haven't seen it, you need to look for it and watch it. I'll put it in a card at the end of this. And the bar clamps have incredible power, and they allow me to pull the top together, and it holds it perfectly. On the ends, to keep it raised up from raising up, I put a couple of Bessie clamps to keep them solid and straight. Now remember, I made this a little bit longer than I should have. Now you can see the ends, they're not matched up perfect, but now I can cut them off. If you haven't seen the video that I made about the track saw, watch it also. That's the track saw I was using right there. On the end of my top for the kennel, I wanted to put breadboards, and so I'm using the domino jig again to set up for my breadboards. We don't have to have breadboards, but I think they look nice. I also think it helps to keep things straight and flat for the duration. Here's my wonderful wife helping me attach the trim. And she helps me in the shop with just about everything I do. We're a partnership. We're attaching the trim all the way around. The trim is where you know you're getting to the end where you're ready to stain. For stain, we're going to use a dark walnut stain on top of this oak. It really brings the grain out. Again, there's my wife, my wonderful wife, laying the stain on. I get to do the video work now. This is the side panel that we built. And at the end of this, now we're going to put the doors on. We use cards, regular playing cards, to ensure that we have the correct spacing. I had, I believe, 2, maybe 3 playing cards on the bottom and sides and tops. This will allow us to open and close the door. It's not too tight and it's perfectly spaced. I'm using a self-centering drill bit to mark my holes. If you don't use one of these and you just run in your screws, the screws can get you off a little, making the door tight. Again, you can see the cards that I used to hold it in place. I taped my hinges on. This just kept them from wiggling and moving while I set up my hinge. This is the outside look. And if you got any questions, feel free to ask. Oh, 13 shirts.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the build. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you might have learned something you hadn't seen before. If you've got a kennel that you built yourself, put a picture in the comment. I'd like to see what you've done. We can talk about it. And if you got any questions on what we've done, ask me. Shoot me a comment. If you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We've got another video coming out soon. Can't wait to hear from you.